To receive credit for a certificate of completion for ticket dismissal and/or an insurance discount, you must complete the registration process at WirelessDefensiveDriving.com as required by the Texas Education Agency. You may continue to access this information for entertainment purposes only, but unless you register, you will not receive credit or a certificate for insurance or ticket dismissal.
The following presentation is brought to you by WirelessDefensiveDriving.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Section 3. If you've not logged on and taken the quiz questions from Section 2, then we haven't started the timer on this chapter, so you're not getting credit for this time spent here. Stop now. Log on to WirelessDefensiveDriving.com. Enter your username and password. Answer the questions. We'll start the timer as soon as you pass those questions. Welcome back, Chuck. Panelists, this is the section where we talk about things that go on inside drivers' heads that can adversely affect their ability to drive well and stay out of jail.
That's right, Mike. We all know that things like drinking and using cell phone can cause drivers to make bad decisions, but what about other things?
Like what? Your seatbelt buckle getting so hot it burns a brand on your leg?
Texans should be excused from having to have seatbelts. They can cause third-degree burns in August.
No, not seatbelts. I'm talking about internal factors like fatigue, stress, emotions.
I'm pretty sure I don't let my emotions affect my driving at all. I'm cool behind the wheel.
Are you sure? Seems like I remember once when you got some news about a bounce check.
Me never.
If you're worried, upset, frightened, depressed,
Sounds like a bounce check to me.
or even happily excited, your driving skills can be as negatively impacted as they would be if you were engaged in an intense phone call or were driving after you'd had several cocktails at happy hour.
Wait a minute. Did I just hear you say you could be too happy to drive safely?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if one of my boys calls me to tell me we've won the lottery,
Yeah.
I shouldn't get in the car and go pick up the other boy.
It's best to wait.
Well, that's all well and good, but sometimes you have to drive after facing an emergency. Like when my grandmother got sick and I had to get to the hospital.
Yeah, or when you've just had an argument with a coworker or some other kind of confrontation, like when you've had to call the electric company again because they've cut your power off again, even though you've paid the bill.
Well, we all have times we have to drive, even though our emotions have surfaced. There are some things you can do to manage your emotions and make your driving safer for yourself and others on the road. Tony, what do you think you could do?
Well, if you're mad or upset or just annoyed, even if it doesn't have anything to do with driving or because of anything that's happened to you on the road, I guess it would be good to pull over or off the road.
Sure.
But what if you're going to be late? Or like Tony said before, you've got to get to the hospital.
Well, you don't have to sit there for 30 minutes. Just take a few minutes to close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and relax. You'll be surprised how calming it is. If the emotion is particularly strong, you might get out of the car and take a little walk, but not on the interstate.
No.
So we should stay off the road until we've had a little time to settle down.
If at all possible, yes. Now, as you drive along, if you find your thoughts drifting back to the unpleasant thing and you start to worry or become depressed, or if you're thinking too closely about the thing that has happened, make a concerted effort to put it out of your mind until you stop the car.
I get what you're saying, I think. You should use the energy to focus on your driving and give yourself time to sort out the problem later when you don't have to drive.
Kathy, answer this. What can you do if you're feeling rushed, hurried, or really impatient to get somewhere? You know that's not safe, so what can you do?
Okay, I'm not sure what the real answer is, but what I always fantasize about is having a big old Sherman tank so I can just roll everybody over on the road.
That's not the answer I was looking for.
Okay, how about this really easy, obvious answer? Leave yourself some more time.
Oh, but wait a minute. I mean, that'd be great if you had extra time, but isn't that what's probably making you frustrated in the first place, that you're running late?
Yes, but if you set your alarm clock for half an hour earlier or cut off that one last conversation at work when you have to be somewhere, you'll avoid getting even more frustrated with slower drivers or other things on the road that are out of your control.
You mean like traffic or a backup because of an accident?
Right. You just never know when those things are going to happen. So give yourself some more time. Then you won't be as likely to speed.
Yeah.
And this is important. No matter how rushed you are, always stop at railroad crossings and never drive around the gates to try to beat an oncoming train.
Oh, no. I have bad dreams about my car stalling on railroad tracks.
Your car would definitely not win the car versus train contest.
No, sir.
You know what gets me? People who can hardly give a turn signal because they're so into their cell phone conversation.
Oh, man.
I'm with that guy who made up that bumper sticker, hang up and drive.
Well,
Please.
Kathy, even though cell phones are certainly distracting, research has shown that people driving in the grip of strong emotions, negative or positive, are more distracted than cell phone users.
That surprises
Me too.
because those cell phone users are like, what? He did not say that. Wait a minute. Let me text him.
Agreed. Bad news. But emotions can cause drivers who are otherwise really excellent drivers to... Anyone?
Oh, no. Is this another stump the panel moment?
It is. Can you name something a good driver could be caused to do in the grip of emotions?
Well, he could have impaired observation and reaction time.
Indeed he could. Kathy, you got one?
No. I'm still thinking about little Miss Cell Phone having to hear what's going on at the mall.
Oh, I got one. He could fail to recognize situations that might happen on the road, like cars stopping in front of him suddenly or debris in the road.
Okay, wait a minute. I thought of something emotions could cause. They could make drivers unable to predict or figure out what the other drivers around them are doing.
Oh, yeah. You mean like somebody pulling over because an ambulance is coming or somebody's tire is going flat?
Yeah, or just changing lanes.
These are all good. Others?
Well, if you're driving along and you get bad news, you could take risky maneuvers that you shouldn't take, like cutting across several lanes of traffic to exit or even drive on the freeway shoulder.
Drivers have been known to lose their ability to perform driving skills that require precise timing or other subtle skills, like, again, changing lanes without cutting somebody off or riding too close on someone's bumper. Also, and I guess this is the last one on this list, strong emotions can make a driver feel like they are detached from other drivers, vehicles, and conditions of the road. And remember, no man is an island, especially on I-35.
And now, live from our studios, it's Road Rage Roundup.
That's right, Mr. Microphone. It's time to take some calls from our listening audience as we discuss road rage, how bad it is, and what you can do to prevent it. As we all know, road rage has been responsible for many accidents and even bodily injuries because of overreaction and personalization of driving experience.
I don't think I know what the real definition of road rage is. I mean, we all get annoyed on the road. I hate it when somebody jumps in front of me and then goes about 2 miles an hour.
Well, you make a good
No
point,
kidding.
Tony. We all have irritations on the road, but aggressive driving, which is another name for road rage, happens when the driver becomes so angry and irritated that he fails to follow the rules of the road.
Okay, I see. So it's worse than just making a gesture or speeding away.
Oh, yes. In fact, an aggressive driver can intentionally aggravate or attempt to aggravate other drivers and can cause bodily injury, property damage, or even death.
That would sure give me road rage if somebody injured me or my property. Killed me.
I am never in the mood for somebody killing me because of my driving.
So let's take some calls and see if we can learn even more about road rage. Here's our first caller, Mitzi from Mesquite. Hello, Mitzi.
Hello. Is this the number to call for the free ticket?
No, sorry. This is Road Rage Roundup.
Oh, okay. I guess that'll be okay.
Okay, Mitzi, here's the question. If something happens to make you think you're about to become the victim of another driver's rage, what is something you can do to protect yourself?
Well, I think you can just get out of the car and just go up to him and go like, what is your deal? Do you think that you are better than me or you're God's gift to the road or something? You just need to pipe down, Mr. Mad Driver, or I don't know what.
What's the first thing she did wrong, panel?
I can't help but think it was not a good idea for little honey to take her pom-poms out of the car.
That's right. You do not want to get out of the car. What else could she do instead?
I think I'd roll up the windows and lock the doors.
Wow, what a brave guy. I still think I could just tell that driver what's what. I'd be like, mister, you need to calm down. I mean, do you think I've had a good day today? I've been working the drive-thru for 9 hours straight, and everybody wants something extra.
Okay, thanks, Mitzi, and I hope you find those tickets. Here's Ann from Houston. Welcome to Road Rage Roundup. Ann?
Good afternoon, Chuck. I'm a long-time listener and first-time caller.
Great to hear from you.
I didn't know anybody was really listening. I'm nervous now.
Ann, I'm looking for something that could happen inside the car
You need to
that...
finish the question. I've got it. Here's the answer. You should avoid making any gesture to your friend or someone on your cell phone or your imaginary friend in your head that another driver could interpret as hostile, rude, or otherwise negative.
That's absolutely right, Ann.
Furthermore, if you accidentally do something that annoys or upsets another driver, you should make overly exaggerated expressions of regret, like this. Well, you can't see me. Sue me. Or you could hold your hands in a little praying, I'm sorry gesture. Make a silly grimace. Anything that works to send the message that you acknowledge your error. This is quite effective in diffusing a potentially volatile situation.
Wow, Ann, thanks. Do you want a seat on our panel?
Hey, she.
Wait.
We
Come
don't
on.
need her.
We don't know.
She's.
Are you kidding? Who needs this cheesy gig. I'm a manager of a Starbucks.
Thanks for calling, Ed.
Ooh.
Panel, to avoid road rage, what should you do when you're stuck in traffic?
Try to realize that traffic congestion is only temporary, and you will soon be on your way.
Yes, think happy thoughts.
What about this, panel? What about planning your trip? Is there anything you can do to minimize your risk of road rage that has to do with planning?
Pack snacks.
Share snacks with enraged drivers.
Planning, remember?
I got nothing.
Well, you should plan your trip or schedule in advance and allow extra time in case your vehicle breaks down or if you get snagged by heavy traffic because of a wreck, construction, or just rush hour.
Oh, well, that's common sense, but it's not always possible.
Not always possible, no, but when you can plan ahead, it is best. What else should you never, ever do? Cletus, you're on the air.
Morning, what do I win?
Well, nothing except the satisfaction of making the roads safer for drivers everywhere.
Okay, then.
So, what is the one thing you should never, ever do to create road rage?
Well, you should never throw beer bottles out the window or make a PU face at somebody's cattle or pantomime shooting at them with the rifle you have on your rack.
Well, you certainly should not do those things, but I'm looking for something to do with your hand.
Oh, you're a nasty man. You should never lean out the window and slap other drivers into next week.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for playing, Cletus.
You're welcome. What'd you say I win?
Panel, I'm throwing this one back to you.
Don't slip a... don't use obscene hand gestures.
That's right. Don't confront other drivers in any way, and don't use obscene hand gestures. What else?
Can we please just answer for a while? Do we have to take calls? These people are scaring me.
It depends on how well you panelists do.
Okay, well, don't cut into another driver's lane of traffic. Use your turn signal to let other drivers know when you plan to change lanes, and wait until it's safe to do it without clipping somebody. And make sure you turn your signal off when you've completed your lane change.
You should also not intentionally slow down or slam on your brakes or speed up to keep someone from passing you or getting back into your lane.
Right.
I hate it when truckers do that.
Me too.
And don't tailgate. Leave some room.
Hey, have you noticed that they call setting up a grill at a football stadium and making burgers tailgating? That confused me the first time I heard
Don't
it.
get distracted. I'll open those phone lines.
We're here.
Like Dolph Briscoe used to say, drive friendly and report aggressive driving to the cops.
These are all good suggestions. It's been found that about 85% of drivers who were surveyed said that a flash of anger and personalization the experience brought on could have been diffused and settled if the other driver had just acknowledged his mistake with a gesture of apology.
Like the little wave, the little, oh, I'm sorry, wave.
That's right. You should keep your eye, your mind, and your thoughts on the road. Keeping emotions in control makes a huge difference in driving skills. But there are some other things drivers should refrain from doing that take their attention from their driving. What all should we not do, panelists?
You shouldn't eat.
Right. What else?
Boys and girls, you shouldn't read, look at a map, or surf the internet on your sappy smartphone.
No, and ladies, you shouldn't be putting on your makeup as you drive. You're not going to look good if you put on that mascara at 55 miles an
Oh,
hour.
man, I'm guilty of that. I'm going to put my eye out one of these mornings. What else, though? Let's see. Don't hold your pets, or worse, don't let them run around inside the car yelling and getting under your pedals.
What about cell phones? Now, I can't live without my
man,
cell phone,
I know.
but I know they can't be too safe.
Well, if you just have to talk, the best thing to do is use a hands-free device and keep the calls to an absolute minimum.
Oh, okay, I have a question, or rather, I want to open a topic of conversation. It's about driving under the influence.
Girl, are we talking alcohol or something worse?
Well, both, although I don't do any kind of drugs, but I have been known to drink a glass of wine or even two with dinner, and I don't have a good handle on what the laws are about that.
Judy, we all know that alcohol impairs driving. The fact is well known and generally accepted. But you're right. Not everybody knows that one of the most important skills can be affected at a very low blood alcohol concentration, or what we call BAC.
Well, what's that story?
The skills you use when you drive include psychomotor skills.
Oh, I have been on the road with some psychomotors.
Vision, perception, tracking, otherwise known as steering, information processing, and attention. Laboratory studies tell us that all these functions are impaired by drinking, although how much they impair us changes with the amount of alcohol we drink.
So, what is the definition of legal intoxication?
It's when the blood alcohol concentration is 0.08%.
So, is that 8%?
No. 0.08. 0.08 of a point.
Okay.
But really, the smallest bit of alcohol affects the brain. Even one drink It can cause the driver to have difficulty concentrating, have trouble with fine motor skills.
Oh, well, wait. What does that mean exactly? Like, he is so fine with those motor skills.
The things you do with your hands, like turning on your lights or adjusting your sun visor. What else does alcohol do to my teetotaling panel?
Well, I would say your senses are duller and you have poor coordination.
And I'm just sleepy. I never have wine at lunch because I can't finish the afternoon's work without a nap.
Your reaction time is slow, too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like how fast you get out of the way if somebody was coming over into your lane.
Right. Your short-term memory is affected.
What did you say?
Your reaction time is slowed. Your judgment is impaired, and you can become more easily confused. Your vision is blurred, and your depth perception can be distorted.
I guess you could be unconscious if you had enough, which isn't good for driving.
Overall, you have a decreased response to stimuli and your surroundings. You just aren't in touch. Now, here's a question. What is really dangerous to add to alcohol?
Mixers.
Like Red Bull.
No. Here's a hint. Over the counter.
Over the counter. Do you mean like cold remedies? And those knock me out.
Yeah, me too. And you shouldn't combine drugs, even over the counter, with alcohol. We'll talk more about that later, but the best rule is don't take medications and drive, and never combine alcohol and meds and driving. It's also a really bad idea to drive when you're drowsy. We were talking about this a little bit with regard to taking cold medication, but studies have shown that a driver who's gone a day without sleep reacts very similarly to a driver with a blood alcohol level of 0.10%, which, as we all know from our previous conversation, is well above the legal limit.
I bet most drowsy driving crashes occur late at night, right?
Yeah. Can you panelists name some factors that increase the risk of drowsy driving and drowsy driving crashes?
Boring radio stations.
Not officially.
How about untreated sleep disorders? What's that thing called when you wake yourself up snoring?
Sleep apnea syndrome. And narcolepsy. For that matter, that's when you just fall asleep at random. Others?
Well, sleep loss, like when you've been up studying or with a new baby or something.
Right. And other sedating medications, all of the above are made worse when mixed with alcohol, and if you have one or two of those conditions, overall risk is increased. Okay, moving right along. Like the law-abiding drivers you panelists are.
You bet.
I detect a note of sarcasm.
Not at all. Let's talk about your senses and physical impairments and how they can impact your ability to drive safely. First, the eyes have it. Poor vision, night blindness, glare, and diseases such as glaucoma and cataracts can all compromise your ability to drive safely. Who can tell me something good drivers do regarding their vision?
I would say if you have glasses, wear them.
Yeah.
Don't leave them on your kitchen table or on your desk.
Good one. What else?
Go to the eye doctor once a year or so to see if you need glasses or not.
That's absolutely right. No, I should do that anyway, just to make sure you're not straining your eyes and giving yourself headaches.
Yeah.
Well, I can't think of anything else. Wear your glasses. Oh, what about this? My mom has trouble seeing at night. What should she do about that?
Well, ideally, she should try her best to drive during the daylight hours. If she has to go somewhere at night, it would be great if she would call you her loving daughter.
She's a hard-headed woman, but I will tell her you said that.
Other ideas. What about sunglasses?
Oh, I can't imagine driving without my sunglasses. Yes, you should definitely wear sunglasses, especially prescription ones when the sun is out.
Right. Now, this may seem like a no-brainer, but don't wear your sunglasses at night.
Who sang that song? I wear my sunglasses at night so I can.
Oh, the Eagles? No, it was not. It was MC Hammer.
No, it was Corey Hart.
Well, Corey Hart, how do you know that?
Well, he's a Canadian singer, and Sunglasses at Night was his first single to be released off his 1984 debut album, First Offense, with the number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100.
He's making it up.
Next question.
Wow. Okay, no sunglasses at night.
No.
What about ears? Judy.
What? Sorry, I wasn't listening. Oh, just kidding. Okay, let me see. I guess if you can't hear well, you can't hear horns and sirens on fire trucks and ambulances, so it'd be a good idea to have good hearing.
But what if you don't hear as well as you once did?
Well, I guess you would overcompensate maybe, like check your mirrors a lot, like every 3 to 5 seconds or so, and look around a lot.
And you probably shouldn't crank up your radio to top volume, unless, of course, Sunglasses at Night comes on, and you want to jam the Corey Hart ladies.
You should also keep conversation low, which means don't take pre-teenage girls anywhere. And, of course, if you've been prescribed hearing aids, by all means wear them. And that brings me to another topic that also affects those who are getting along in their years. If you have limited mobility, like maybe pretty severe arthritis, it can be difficult to look around quickly and react to emergencies. So, install large, well-placed mirrors in your car or truck and opt for power steering and power brakes, every bit of power you can get to give your muscles some help.
What about when you're sick?
That's a very good question. Illness and the medicines you take can affect your driving. They lower your attention level and slow your response time, so avoid driving when you're sick if you can.
And I guess if you're brave enough, read the possible side effects of your medicine. Nothing scares me more than to read about all the stuff that can go wrong. It's worse than a Stephen King novel.
Don't drive if your prescription advises against it.
An excuse to stay home. Check.
I
Not a
mean,
problem.
Here's the deal with all this stuff. It's your responsibility on the road to be as safe as you possibly can be. Keep your car in good condition and also yourself. Know the laws and stay in touch with your surroundings, paying attention to traffic signs and signals and road markings. Know what's expected of you, what the road and traffic conditions are going to be, and arrive safely.
When I first started driving in my little VW Beetle with a pink heart on the back and blue jean seat covers, I was happening. Anyway, when I first started driving, my grandfather told me this. He said, when you slide behind the wheel of a car, you take responsibility for the lives of everyone around you, not just yourself and the people in your car, but everybody you'll come in contact with on the road. You've got to know proper driving procedures and keep a good attitude. He also told me to assume that everybody else on the road was an idiot and drive accordingly. He was a wise man.
Yes, he was a wise man. Courtesy and consideration are essential to good driving. The easy part is mastering the skills of operating the motor vehicle. You've got to learn the fine points of driving after that. And like the stuff we've been talking about today, the mental and physical conditions that affect performance on the road.
So, in conclusion, driver error causes more than 90% of highway crashes. Your ability to drive safely depends not only on what you know, but on how you feel and what you were doing before you sat behind the wheel.
That's exactly right, Tony. I must be doing a good job of leading this discussion.
No, not at all. I just looked at your notes while you were turned the other way.
I should have known.
Not fair.
Brother.